I'm not happy, frankly, with the way that he's chosen to re-enter presidential politics, and I think his friends need to be honest with him about that. He's a great man. He would be a great president, but there's not a lot of good precedent for somebody losing the election and coming back 4 years later and becoming the nominee.
And the Republican presidential candidate for 2016 is? Go ahead, take your best shot. You'll be just as accurate as anybody else will be right now. In every conversation, there is one man whose name always turns up and is always tagged as being a favorite. Yet when one wants to become the president of the United States, one has to be ready for the slings and arrows that come with it every day. Let's welcome to Midpoint, pediatric neurosurgeon and author of One Nation, What We Can All Do to Save America's Future. Dr. Ben Carson is here in studio. Dr. Carson, a pleasure to see you again.
Oh, it's good to be here. Thank you.
All right, let's get right down to it now. Reports out this morning basically say that you've made your decision and you're going to throw your hat in the ring. Yes or no?
That decision is yet to be made.
How long is it going to take to make it?
I think we'll be mulling things over. I will have made a final decision before May 1st.
And what will be the linchpin that will force you to make that decision, yes or no? What's the key?
Well, there are a number of keys. I want to make sure that the support is there.
Support from whom?
From the people.
Government, people?
The people.
Fellow, okay.
It's, as far as I'm concerned, the people are at the pinnacle. And so far, there are a lot of them who seem to be with me, but I want to be 100% sure. I would need to make sure that I can get together the right kind of infrastructure because that makes all the difference in the world. Have completely the team that you're comfortable with.
Do you have a team put together already?
We do have a significant number of people already, but we want to have a complete team.
Okay, what are you missing?
Several elements.
Which would be?
Oh, I don't want to go into what we're missing, but you just want to have a complete infrastructure in order to not miss anything.
All right. So that the American people don't miss anything, why should they trust you to be President of the United States?
Well, that's why we have this vetting process.
But I want to hear from you. I really want to hear from you why people should look at Dr. Ben Carson and say, he's the guy. What is it that sets you apart and makes them want to trust you over everybody else?
Well, what I was about to say is in this vetting process, you have an opportunity to really look at a person's entire life. And that should tell you a great deal. You know, there are some people who are thrust into positions of great responsibility, and sometimes we don't vet them. We don't look into their past. We don't look into their associations. We don't look into their accomplishments. We don't look into what kind of person they are. And all of those things become clear. And I actually welcome the magnifying glass. I don't have any problem.
When you discuss all those issues about looking back at someone's past, are you perhaps discussing a current president of the United States?
I think he might be included in that group, yes.
Where perhaps we did not, or people did not go back and look deep enough into his past?
Or they didn't care. You know, they would see certain big gaps and they would say, it's okay, he's a good guy.
Why did they not care?
Because a lot of the media, unfortunately, are ideologues themselves. And as long as someone fits into their ideological structure, they give them a pass on everything. And if someone doesn't fit into their ideological structure, they attack them on everything. They even make up things. And that's just par for the course. But I welcome it, as I say. No problem. I have nothing to hide.
Then here it comes. At a Republican National Committee's winter meeting outside of San Diego, you were there yesterday. You made the statement that many people are saying you likened the Islamic State of ISIS to American patriots, where you said they've got the wrong philosophy, but they're willing to die for what they believe, while we are busily giving away every belief and every value for the sake of political correctness.
Yes.
Were you really putting ISIS and American patriots in the same sentence?
Of course not. I think anybody who just heard what you said could see that. But what I am saying is that we had a bunch of ragtag militiamen who were willing to die for what they believed. And they were able to defeat the most powerful and professional army on the face of the earth. There are some similarities. You have ISIS, which is rapidly growing, by the way, because we're not doing anything about it. But you have people who are willing to die for what they believe, as we are giving away our belief system,
But
we don't even know what we believe in anymore. There is a danger there. That's the point that I'm making. We have to start understanding who we are and what we believe, and we have to grasp it solidly.
Do you think it would have been better put, though, if you would have taken religion out of it? Because, let's face it, American patriots did not go out and kill somebody simply because of a religious belief.
Well, I don't think religion has anything to do with what I'm talking about. I think what it has to do with is your conviction. And I don't know that you could find enough Americans who even know what America stands for anymore, who can even articulate that. Because, you know, we have so many people who are politically correct who have shut you up. And, you know, I look at some of these man on the street interviews, and they ask very simple questions, and we don't know.
Okay, well,
we don't know our history.
So you don't mind being asked the hard questions now that you're a presidential potential candidate?
I welcome the hard questions.
Okay, so with regard to that, then, what about your connection to this company, Mannatech?
I welcome that question.
Go ahead.
Because, you know, 10 plus years ago, you know, they asked me to give a speech. I give lots of speeches. At that time, I was giving at least one speech a week to some group. It's a paid speech. You know, I work with the Speakers Bureau. I make no bones about that.
And you didn't know what Mannatech was, or the owner was, or the fact that he'd had problems in the past, or there had been deaths? When
I first became associated with them by giving a speech, that's when I first learned about them. I actually like what they stand for. I like the idea of supplements because the natural diet is actually very good. The body is made to heal itself based on good nutrition.
But did you know the problems that he had in the past, and you were speaking with a group? Basically, there was a child who died of Tay-Sachs disease that was connected to his former supplements?
I didn't know anything about all the legal stuff. But they have the same kind of problem that many companies have that have sales associates. You have these people who are trying to make money. They go out, they make outrageous claims. And
can I ask you to do me a favor?
Yes.
We're out of time in this segment, but guys, I'm telling you what, I'm going to pull a little executive privilege here right now. I'm going to ask you to stay.
Okay.
Can you please stay through the break? Because we got a lot of things here we want to touch on. I want to make sure that you're still here. Okay, Dr. Ben Carson is here. He's going to stay with us when we continue right here on Midpoint.
The 7 million people who signed up with an exchange, they got an advanced tax credit. They did not get a subsidy. So they will get a form from the exchange that says how much their advanced tax.
All right, Obamacare is on the table, and so are many other things. Welcome back to Midpoint. Pediatric neurosurgeon, author of One Nation, What We Can All Do to Save America's Future. Dr. Ben Carson joins us again. I'm going to get to Obamacare in just a minute, but let me get you to this. I want to get back to Mannatech, because people are saying right now that you should be held responsible for that because you spoke for a group that has a shady past. The gentleman there is Samuel Castor, who's the businessman who had problems before, and that you should have known that you were speaking in front of a group and you were representing a company whose products are seen shaky, and even the FDA was after.
Okay, now let me go back to the real problem.
Please.
The real problem is that Sam Castor, by the way, I've heard him repeatedly stress to the sales associates, do not make claims that this is a medicine or that this heals things. But you get people who are exuberant because they see an opportunity to make some money. And some of them have done things that I would totally disagree with and have made that very clear, that I didn't want to be associated with any such claims. What I am very much in favor of is good nutrition.
Do you consider his glyconutrients good nutrition? Because there's people who still wonder if that's real to begin with.
Well, let me put it this way. Personally, I've been taking them for more than a decade. And since I've been taking them, I almost never get sick anymore. And I used to get sick a lot.
I just got a cue, says I got about 2 minutes until the president speaks. So before we get away from that, are people gunning for you? Is the media gunning for you? Are people just basically coming out after you? And you say all of these things have no relevance whatsoever, and a lot of them are untrue, not based in fact. So do they want to do everything they can to take Ben Carson and rip him down before you get a chance to run?
Well, you know, it's not me per se.
But it is.
It's what I represent. I represent something that is antithetical to the progressive movement. I represent somebody who came from a pretty difficult situation, who worked extremely hard, who utilized the system that exists for everybody, who didn't sit around and complain about people being against them, but took advantage of what was there and has been able to be successful.
But are they scared of you?
I think they're afraid of what I represent.
And that is change, the fact that you don't believe in what they believe in? I mean, seriously, because it seems like everything you take, they want to rip down.
It is the American way. That's what they're against. They want to fundamentally change the society. They don't like a country that is of, for, and by the people. They want a country that is of, for, and by the government. They want a utopian society where nobody has to worry about anything from cradle to grave, but you give all power to the government. I do not like that. I don't represent that. I don't want anything to do with it. I want the kind of America that our forefathers tried to establish and what our previous people have fought so hard to maintain.
Then would you say that a lot of the left-leaners like MSNBC, a lot of the left-leaning websites like Raw Story, all these others, all they're doing is making things up and they're taking things out of context. Would that be correct?
In many cases, they are exaggerating. Some of the things that they have said are so absurd. And, you know, the nice thing is that people out there are actually seeing it. I don't think the American people are stupid at all. And there are some who are, but you know, most of them can see right through what they're doing.
Are they just then lying? Yes or no?
Some of them are.
On a regular basis?
On a regular basis, they are trying to do everything they can to promote their ideology.
All right, Dr. Carson, I'm going to say thank you very much.